The private medical information of students leaked to the public. Good evening, I'm David Allen.
And I'm Janet Roach. Regina has the night off. 13 News Now reporter Jacqueline Lee tracked down Norfolk school officials to find out how this could have happened.
Norfolk Public Schools officials acknowledge they compromised the information of more than 100 students and staff by posting their medical needs online. Tonight, they're apologizing and trying to fix the error. Parents call the data leak disturbing.
I'm a privacy guy, right? So what we do, should be kept to us and our families.
But it's still private. So yeah, that's not right. Because that's the violation of their privacy, which in turn could be a violation of my privacy.
As part of its emergency response plan, which is required by the Virginia Department of Education, Norfolk Public Schools listed the medical needs of students and staff. Officials say the information is critical and necessary for first responders. So, in case of an emergency, officials know who to help and where they're located.
These plans are necessary because, unfortunately, bad things happen, as we've seen over the years.
The Virginia Department of Education says schools are supposed to have 3 versions of this plan, 2 of which includes this detailed information and 1 with redacted information meant for the public. Instead, the school district posted the version with the sensitive information, which school safety advocates say can have unintended consequences.
Certainly, we wouldn't want that information out there to somebody who's looking to do harm upon the children or the school. So anytime you post things that should be protected, you increase the risk.
And now it's a question of whether or not the school district violated student and family privacy, also known as FERPA. As current law stands, FERPA requires parents to give written consent before medical records are shared to a third party. If a school district does violate FERPA, it must notify the parent of any student affected. Norfolk Public Schools officials say they are reaching out to all affected parties in order to address the situation. In Norfolk, Jacqueline Lee, 13 News Now.
An update on breaking news from Busch Gardens. We've just learned a staff member was injured when a train caught fire in the New France area today. In a statement, Busch Gardens says that worker suffered minor injuries and is getting medical treatment. The park evacuated people from the surrounding area as a precaution. We're told the fire has been contained. No guests or animals were hurt.
We've learned ignitable liquid started a house fire moments before a couple died on the interstate. Investigators say it was no accident when William and Belinda Davis's home went up in flames August 8th. Hours later, police found the couple dead in a truck on I-264. 13 News Now reporter Stephen Graves has new details from court documents.
Yeah, there's still that looming question of why this all happened, but we do have a better idea now of what happened between the fire and that interstate situation. Documents say William was just at a day on the job before this all happened. August 8th, a crash scene on I-264 in Virginia Beach. State police find William and Belinda Davis shot dead in a truck. The medical examiner says Belinda committed suicide. Rewind, though, to before all of this, a mysterious fire set at their home. Investigators say it was set on purpose. Details in new court paperwork say around the time of the fire, William was at the oceanfront, his job site for the day. The story in the documents is from William's supervisor's perspective. He recalls being with William on 37th Street when he told him he heard William's home had caught on fire. Moments later, documents say Belinda showed up to the work site. We don't know from where, though. William told her about the fire, but she, quote, showed no outward emotion to the news. The two then left the ocean front in William's work vehicle. Just minutes later, the truck was found crashed into a Jersey wall near the London Bridge Boulevard exit. The supervisor recalls driving by the wreck, seeing William slumped over, his seatbelt holding him up. Police would later confirm Belinda dead as well, and that they also found a gun in the truck. And we tried digging deeper to find any prior issues between the couple. All we found, though, was a felony possession of a firearm charge that Belinda pleaded guilty to in 2013. Now, we asked police if the gun they found in this incident belonged to her. All they would say is that this remains an ongoing investigation. Stephen Graves, 13 News Now.
Right now, Suffolk police are investigating a shooting that left one person seriously hurt. Just moments ago, a witness told 13 News Now reporter Robert Boyd the shooting stemmed over whether or not Halle Berry, that's an actress, should play Aretha Franklin in a movie. It happened outside a barbershop near East Washington and Liberty Streets. Both men went to the hospital. The gunshot victim is in serious condition.
Developing now in Hampton, a cemetery moving hundreds of graves of veterans, and some loved ones of those buried at Hampton Memorial Gardens tell us they were never told when it was happening. 13 News Now reporter Megan Puryear joins us live with answers from management.
David, that's right. Now, we talked to family today who says that they were completely shocked that the move was happening today. Now, if you take a look here behind me, you can see the partition that's up, which was hiding all of the activity. So we went to get some answers. Where light touches each tombstone and flowers stretch high, peace lives.
Even after all this time, you still want to remember those who passed on.
Lynn Dameron's parents, Whitmore and Betty Dameron, have rested at Hampton Veteran Memorial Gardens for decades now. The World War II veteran and his wife remain together in a mausoleum. But now a large partition wraps the tombs while crews move in and out. Dameron says the bodies of 300 people are getting transferred to a new mausoleum today.
People are going to be surprised when they find out that they're doing it right now.
Dameron says he got a letter in April from management saying the veterans mausoleum had structural issues and the bodies would be shifted to a new mausoleum. But Dameron says he was never informed of when it might take place, and now he's worried about where his parents will go.
I got to find out where they're going to go. You can't just yank people out of their graves.
Dameron says it's no coincidence and thinks it has to do with the city's plan to extend Coliseum Drive from Hampton Road Center Parkway to Butler Farm Road. The proposed 4-lane road would sit between a neighborhood and Hampton Veteran Memorial Gardens, but officials with the Memorial Gardens say the projects are not connected and the move is necessary.
Certainly, it's good that they are being removed and taken to a more secure structure.
But Dameron wishes management had explained when and where the transition would take place.
I had to go to the courts to determine when they were going to be able to do this.
Management confirmed they put in a court order because of structural damage and issues with the roof, forcing the removal of the remains to a new mausoleum. Now, Dameron isn't sure when the project will be completed. When we asked Memorial Gardens, they had no comment. Live in Hampton, I'm Megan Puryear, 13 News Now.